Hi, welcome to another flute review where we're going to be taking a closer look at one of the flutes from my collection. Today we're going to be looking at a flute that is made by Pat Haran of Haran Flutes. He is out of Phoenix, Arizona, and he's been making flutes since 1990. This particular flute is in the key of B flat. It's made from Alaskan yellow cedar, and it has walnut accents. And then I'll be doing close-up pictures, but if you can see it here, it has small rings of what looks like Spanish Cedar is my guess. Just nice iridescent type rings there. He uses or at least when this flute was made, and this is an older flute of his that I am, someone else owned this before me, so I don't know if I'm the second owner or whatever, but I am the new caretaker of this flute. When this was made, it was made in a two-piece routed design. The rings and the mouthpiece were all created in the flute blank, routed, and then glued back together. And the seams are just perfect, the way that was all joined back together. The nest, or the bore size is pretty large, 1.5 inch bore diameter, and the bore length is 22 5/8 inches long. The overall length of the flute is 28 5/8 inches long. Has some nice decorative rings. Looks like carved into the flute body, not burned in like some makers do. It has a dropped nest that is machined down into the flute there. The flue is very, very thin, built into the flute body. The true sound hole measures 1/2 inch wide and 1/4 inch long. The block has very, very tiny wings on it. Just barely enough to help direct that airflow towards the edge of the true sound hole. The mouthpiece is a very large 1/2 inch diameter. Has a very blunt mouthpiece end, conical, but then very squared off on the end. And the block is kind of a wave or a claw type shape, also walnut. And Pat is, I think, pretty well known for his larger type flutes. He has a very warm, resonant voice that he has designed into his flutes. And this is what this one sounds like. Nice, smooth, what I'm going to call kind of a round tone. Beautiful, beautiful voice. It does have finger holes that are ergonomically placed for a right hand down player. And being a very, well, pretty large bore, it doesn't have huge finger holes. Not as large as some makers would use. It's very comfortable, very easy reach, and for me anyway, they fall very, very, very comfortably. The slow air chamber is not excessively long, it's not excessively short, it's a good, comfortable reach for me. The mouthpiece does kind of require me to either tilt my head down or bring the flute up, which isn't uncomfortable, but I kind of like my flute in kind of a 45-degree angle, the way that I am comfortable playing most of the time. So for me, this mouthpiece makes me position things a little bit differently than what I normally would. It's easy to get used to. And what I do is I kind of do a combination of bring the flute up a little bit more and tip my head down a little bit more. So if it was not quite as blunt, this was brought in just a little bit more. It would fit my lips anyway a little bit nicer. It's not difficult to play, it's just different. So, Pat Haran Flutes from Phoenix, Arizona. Been making flutes for a long, long time, 30 years now. I got this one secondhand, and very, very happy that I was able to find it. It was well taken care of. There's very few teeny tiny little marks on it. Beautiful voice, nice, clear tone, a little subdued. It's not as loud as some flutes that I have that are still a large flute. And I think it has a little bit more back pressure than some because of that very, very thin flue area. Very, very tiny. But if you're looking for a large bass flute, I would highly suggest looking at a Pat Haran flute. Everyone that I've heard recordings of has had a wonderful, wonderful voice. This is my only one so far. I have played another Pat Haran flute that is kind of a mid-range flute, and a friend of mine owns that. I don't remember for sure what key it is. It's either an F sharp or an E, somewhere around in there. And again, beautiful voice. It plays beautifully. A little mellower than my favorite voice of a flute, but I do love the way this plays and the way it sounds. Thank you for tuning in today. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Click the little bell down over there, ring it, so that you can be notified when I do post another video, whether it be a flute review like this or a music video where I play mainly the Native American flute, either solo or with other instruments. could be a tutorial on how to play these wonderful instruments. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.
Racing across the sky. The sun is sinking. Colors change, intensify.